Hey, y'all. I have to tell you that without revenue flowing into your business, you just have an expensive hobby. Let's just call a spade a spade. And so, in our season finale today of the Erin Burd Live Show, I have my friend Genevieve Ryan, who is also one of our coaches for Dance Studio Empire. And we are going to be discussing how you can show me the money and really share with you how you can have multiple revenue rivers that feed into your bottom line and your bank account. Now, if you're here, say hello. If you're coming back in on the replay, we want to know that as well. I know so many times we have a lot of friends who come back in on the replay. So just drop a little hashtag replay and we will continue the conversation with you. And if you've stumbled upon this somehow, I'm Erin Burd, and I support dance studio owners and educators to really grow their businesses without overwhelm, burnout, sacrificing your personal life, but really focusing in on what your own unique vision of success is. Because each of us has a different idea of what that looks like. And so we don't believe in the cookie cutter approach around here. We really want you to have a life that, and a business that makes your heart leap for joy. So if you're joining us, say hello. Let us know that you're here. We want to know that you're here today before we get this party started. And as always, as you're coming in, drop some comments. Let's have a little chat about this idea of revenue flowing into your business. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Genevieve in today. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. I'm going to be on one today. Just wait for it. So I'm going to bring in Miss Genevieve. But good morning to you, Michelle. And now, I would say good morning to you, Genevieve, but it is not morning for you in Ireland. It is afternoon, late
It is
afternoon, early evening, something to
uh,
that.
late afternoon. We're just in that week where we had our time change this weekend,
Right.
so
And
we're
we,
closer together this week. We're an hour closer together.
I know, I always find it so, I don't know why it hurts my brain so hard when I'm thinking about all these. Why can't we all either change time at the same time or not change time at all? I don't understand. But anywho, that's a story for another day. And I'm so glad that you reminded me that your time had already changed because we want to make sure that we have our time zones aligned. So
I could have been here an hour later. I could have been here an hour later. I checked yesterday just to make sure.
time zones, y'all, time zones. Okay. So I want to dive into this conversation now. Genevieve, is she, do you want to say, like, you could talk about yourself if you want to. Feel free to talk about yourself. Introduce yourself if you'd like. She is one of our coaches for Dance Studio Empire, but of course, she is a studio owner herself and also has one of the reasons that I specifically wanted Genevieve on today is because she does have different revenue rivers flowing into her business. Because we find it is so important. And so I thought, you know what, let's have her join me today and we can have a good chat about it. But I'm going to let you introduce yourself and then we'll just dive into this topic.
Hello, everybody. My name is Genevieve, and I am an American living in Ireland for the past 17 years now. And yes, when I first got here, I thought I was going to just come over to travel and ended up meeting a boy, as you do. and and then little jobs just came up where they needed a dance teacher here and a dance teacher there, and I thought, oh, I'm not going to be here very long, I'll do that.
Mhm.
And then it one thing just kind of snowballed into the other, and I am a believer in things happen for a reason, and when you're on the right path, things do happen.
Mhm.
So when they started happening, I just took it as it was and kept going with it, building more classes, um, building, building, not even, I didn't even build my team until it was absolutely necessary, because I just thought, well, it is what it is and I'll do it while I can. It's paying the bills for now.
Right.
And then I got pregnant. Now this is 15 years later. This is same guy.
Mind you, 15, fast forward 15 years and here, okay, yes.
And I realized I can't teach 22 classes a week by myself.
I
And
mean,
this was also when I was about 7 months pregnant, going, I'm not sure this is going to work. You know,
right.
same with our end of year show was a month after my little boy was due. I was like, that's no problem. I got this. I'll be there at the show. It'll be fine. And my little boy was 2 weeks late. So I had 2 weeks between the show and hello, Michelle. Um, between having my first child and having a show. So that really made me look at what am I doing? What do I want to do? What do I hope to do? And what are my boundaries? Because
Yeah.
those things had never crossed my mind. It just kind of was what it was, and I did it. I loved it. And it really made me focus on my business and what it is I'm going to spend my time doing.
Yeah.
As entrepreneurs and people that are self employed, we are our greatest asset. So, what we do and how we spend our time is going to affect us. And that's how we can grow or where we need to put those boundaries up, I think.
100%.
And so I developed my team. I found the team that I needed for the time. I found teachers that were past students or, I had time to work with them. And I started to develop my team, but also to develop what I expected out of my business and what I expected, the roles that I expected out of my employees.
I love it.
Creating our culture.
Yeah.
You know, who do you want representing you when you think you can do it all yourself? And I'm sure we've all been there. So then it started for me looking at other revenue streams. First started where I was very lucky because outside organizations started contacting me. So we would do a lot of work with Down Syndrome Ireland, and we would do a lot of work with an organization here called Women in Sports.
Mm.
So once that started happening, I realized, okay, this is a great opportunity. Occupational therapists started contacting us to work on mobility with kids that needed movement therapy, and realizing this is something that can bring in a revenue, but also makes you feel really good serving the right community.
Yeah.
And is time well spent, especially since a lot of us are doing hours that are after school or on weekends.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a good chunk of the day that could be used to our benefit. So how are we spending our time?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you mentioned that because I think as we dive into this topic of revenue rivers, um, there are a million and one different ways to make money. Like, honestly, y'all, money is out there. There's a lot of it that's out there. Money is just, I mean, really, a lot of people say money is just energy, like an exchange of energy. But there's a lot of opportunities out there. You just have to be willing to look outside of your normal box, right? And so, dance studio, for most dance studios, the main revenue is your tuition, like your monthly tuition that you're doing inside your studio, which, we could have a whole conversation just on tuition and price structures and all that sort of stuff. That's not what we're here for today. That's something we do inside our Empire Builders Club, but that's our main thing. So we're not going to talk about that really today. But what I wanted to talk about and what we were discussing was this idea of having different income streams, revenue streams that flow into your business, and that if you're smart, you can look ahead and see what shifts are happening in your community or in your state or in your country or whatever. What shifts are happening that you can see happening? It's coming. Right? So what do we do to get ourselves ready for that, to make sure that we still have money flowing into our business, but B, that you can, like a faucet, you can turn it on and turn it off when you want to. right? And I think that's really something um, that's important to remember is that, like, with life happens, right? And so, and we all think we could do all the things, kind of going back to that thing. We could do all the things. It doesn't mean that we should. And there's times in our lives where we need to be able to turn off a faucet and it be okay because it takes it off our plate, right? But when we want to turn it back on, we could turn it back on. And so, uh, Genevieve and I were going to talk about a few of those. Now, in the chat, y'all, let us know, what are some of your, outside of your traditional, I'm saying this, your traditional lineup inside your four walls of your studio or whatnot, aside from your traditional tuition revenue, let's just say, what sort of revenue rivers do you have that are highly profitable for you, that give you a return on your investment, not only financial investment, but time investment, and that you like could see leveraging and growing, and or you have the opportunity to turn on and off. So when Genevieve and I met, you actually came to me to add another revenue river for yourself. And so let's just kind of dive into to that one, because you had your studio and that was going great. Like, your studio is going great. Were you kind of maxed out? I mean, in a way, kind of maxed out in your studio space. Was that a reason, or were you just looking at other things happening?
I was looking at other things happening because I think COVID had just started.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I had a little kid that was
Yeah.
home. And I couldn't teach classes after school
Yeah.
and in the evenings. So I wanted to see,
Because of boundaries. Yeah.
yeah, what I could do.
Right.
And it's funny that you said that, setting the boundaries is the big thing, because I think when we're entrepreneurs and when we work for ourselves, the initial reaction is do anything and everything that brings in money.
Right.
So we were getting grants from all sorts of places to do youth arts festivals, to do this, to do this, to do this. And then I realized I just don't have the time or the energy to focus on this.
Right.
And the greater return is not coming back to me.
Mm.
So I needed to take a step back and thought, okay, if my little one is starting creche, which would be the same as preschool, here it's a free 3-hour program that they have during the week.
Right.
So in my head, it was like, I've got 3 hours in the morning. What am I going to do?
What am I going to do with that 3 hours?
But, so for me, it was the mobile program. It was like, okay, this I could do. I'm in the zone of this age group anyway. I'm
Right.
ready for it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of kids here in Ireland.
Yeah.
A lot. And not everybody can go to big group classes. Not all of them want to, because they don't want to be left alone, or, so I thought this would be good for me. And that's when I started working with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the thing I want to just mention is that a lot of times people think, oh, well, this works for you here, but it wouldn't work for me here. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that works for you in the States, but here in enter XYZ country, state, wherever, like, you know what I mean? That won't work for me. And the reality is that mobile, going out, and when we say mobile, it could be creches, it could be private schools, it could be daycares, it could be senior communities.
Assisted living. Yeah.
It could be those communities. It just means, meeting people where they're at. It could be community centers, YMCA. Like, there are so many opportunities for mobile. And so, that's when we started we started chatting, and I loved how really Genevieve had gotten, she had her place in her business, the foundations and the systems and all of those things in place, so that by adding this program, it wasn't stressful. It wasn't another thing to do. It was, ooh, this is another opportunity. And so that became a really great revenue stream. And what I love is that, she was very clear, and I still want to do sessions because I want to be able to turn it on and turn it off during those times. So turn it off during the holidays when I want to be with my family. Turn it, the sessions ends before that. Turn it off before recital season is happening because I want to be present for that. That's the beauty of an additional revenue river, is that you can turn it on and off for when it's good for you. You have to have your core tuition, y'all. You got to have that. But some of these revenue streams, that's what makes them so magical, is that you can turn them on and off. And
I think
so, yeah, go ahead.
I think a really great thing to add to that is because these mobile programs are either they could be seasonal. Some of them are only 7 weeks at a time. Some are year long.
Mhm.
Some we go, even we go into schools for maybe 8 weeks at a time, but it's every single class in the school
Right.
once,
Right.
so there's a huge variety of what you can offer depending on what you already have. You already have the props, you already know the class structure.
Mhm.
But I found it was a really great way for me to hold on to teachers as well, and to
Yeah.
hold on to teachers that can't commit maybe to more than 10 hours a week or 5 hours a week. But it also helps me that if I lose maybe a teacher that's part of my school, that I can then look to these teachers that I do send out because they're already trained.
Right.
They already cover classes, and it's giving them a couple more hours a week
Mhm.
to help them out.
Absolutely. And we found that a lot of our mobile clients, it does help with staff retention because there are, and having, because they can offer them, they have their nighttime classes, let's just say, and they wanted more. They don't want to go work at Starbucks or whatever during the day, but they need the supplemental income, right? Because maybe they only are teaching 3 nights a week or whatever for you. To be able to offer that during the day allowed them to just have one job instead of two or three, which y'all know happens so many times in our industry. Like, teachers are just bouncing around doing all these things, unfortunately, to make ends meet. So not only is it an additional revenue stream for y'all, um, additional impact in your community that you're making, but it also helps with staff retention. So you guys, if honestly, if you don't do mobile, or if you haven't thought about mobile, I would really highly encourage you to reach out to us and we can chat about it. Because what Genevieve found out was it hard once you actually started, like, to get the stuff? Because a lot of people always tell me, oh my gosh, they like have this idea, this story that they're telling themselves. So I'll let you just touch on that. I'll be quiet and drink some of my coffee this morning.
So I kept putting it off for a good couple of weeks. Like, this is going to be tough. Who's going to come see me? The big thing for me for COVID was that here in Ireland, external classes couldn't happen.
Right.
We weren't allowed. However, if it was a school event and a school hired you to do something, you could then come in through that.
Mm-hmm.
This was after the big lockdown.
Right.
And I just kept thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to convince these people to let me in?
Right.
And after a tough love conversation from Erin, we'll keep this clean.
True.
I got 70 kids to sign up after my first trial at the first preschool I went to. And I texted her and I said, I think we got it. It's a go. And I had only gone in and done 2 free trials in 1 creche. And from that, they offered it to the whole school. And I had 4 class, because there were so many kids, I did 4
Yeah.
45-minute sessions.
Yeah.
So it was the perfect start
Yeah.
to doing it. It was the perfect start for me to come back into the workforce. Having my little one, it was the perfect, it was only 1 day a week, and it was good income for that.
Right.
And it was a great way where, and I know that I know how to do it. I'm
Mhm.
confident in how to do it, how to approach, but it is a mental block, and it's the idea that we give ourselves versus actually doing it.
Yeah. There's a I mean, and that happens for lots of different things, right? But y'all, yes. Oh, Kara, you're right. Mobile is the best, right? And so so y'all, mobile is a revenue river that you absolutely should look into if you are looking to increase your revenue. Also, if it's a great way to start the know, like, and trust of students earlier on, and then they will transfer into your studio space. So if you're only doing preschool daycare,
We did it where we have one studio that we serve that we're full all week. But now we have two other locations that we started as 1 day a week mobile program
Mhm.
where we're in there 4 days a week in each location.
Yeah,
So we consider that our second and third location
yeah,
because it went from two classes a week to 12.
right.
You know,
Which you get the hand clappers for. So good, so good, so good, so good. Okay, so that was one of the things that we wanted to touch on real quick. Now I know that you kind of like not roundabout talked about it, but one of the big things that you may know is I really, really firmly believe in building relationships, the doors that will open for you and the opportunities that can come from building relationships. Having brand awareness is huge. And so you touched on, you had different organizations approaching you. Now, here's my two, like, this is an opportunity when you start to partner with some of these or other organizations, it can be highly profitable for you, but you have to, yes, have the bandwidth, not just take every single project that's thrown at you just because you're like, ooh, dollar signs. Like, it has to make sense, and it has to align with what are your big goals for the year,
Mhm.
right? Because just because somebody comes and says, oh my gosh, this would be amazing, if it doesn't align with what your number one goal is for the year, should you be doing it? Is it the right time? Now, I also think there's times where those opportunities they approach and you have to just you got to snatch them up, because even if you don't feel like, oh my gosh, is now the right time, it's one and gone if you don't. Right? Right? So you have to be able to like discern long-term vision also and short-term goals. Um, but when you have these partnerships, when you have other organizations, when you have uh, businesses in your community who are seeing what you're doing, it allows you opportunities and doors to open for things like uh, something that Genevieve and I was like, corporate health and wellness and fitness programs that you can partner with in your communities. Like, if you have, we have some big corporate offices here for some major companies and organizations, and they are all investing in health and wellness for their team. And again, this is during the day where you have staff who might be readily available. And again, y'all, corporate checks are good checks. I'm just going to say it. Don't underbid yourself. You
Mhm.
are here to make a profit. But like, we have some amazing contracts that are just because the word got out on the street. That's what we do. Right? Like, Genevieve, what are the big corporations that y'all have in Ireland that's close to you that just moved there?
Oh, we've got Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Um, we have
Do you have a Google hub there, or
in Dublin. So Ireland's tax law, there was a special tax law where they didn't have to pay tax because they were giving jobs to people in Dublin and in Ireland. So there's huge. All the big companies would be based here for Europe.
Mhm.
Even in Galway itself, where I'm located, we have a lot of pharmaceutical companies and a lot of pharmaceutical pharmaceutical machinery companies.
Yes, equipment, like pharmaceutical equipment. Uh-huh.
Exactly. And there is a lot of money. You know, Hewlett Packard, all these, some
Right.
of the, I forget what's, I'm not a gamer myself, but a lot of the
Right.
games for the
Yeah.
NFL, what is it, Dream Team or whatever, you know what I mean?
I'm not a gamer either, so I don't know, but I get where you're going with it. Right. They're all
They're
based,
here
they have a hub there. Yeah.
exactly, and the best part about those is that 98% of all of their staff are sitting all the time.
Yes.
So approaching it in the way that, and surprisingly, a lot of them have big workout rooms
Yes.
because they provide the space for their employees. None of their employees use the spaces, but go and talk to these corporations if they're near you, because they probably have a space that's gathering dust that then you can say, well, I have a team that can come in
Mhm.
and do this for you, X, Y, and Z.
Right. Right.
You know,
And the stats, you guys, y'all know I'm a data nerd a little bit. And like when we go into, and if, yes, Kara, yeah, she's done corporate for years. Ah, so good. But when we approach these, like, it really is coming back down to what is the objective of these businesses, right? So for a corporation, they are looking at health and wellness because when they offer these things, it declines their workman's comp claims decline. They have less people calling out sick because they're healthier. Like there's all, go to the data, go to the stats. Stats sell to corporations.
mhm.
It's not about the fluff. They don't care about the fluff and like all the feel good. No, they don't care about that. I was going to say a bad word stuff. They, they care about what's in it for them. What is the data? Because again, these people are making data driven decisions and they want to see the return on investment. And if you coming in and charging X amount of dollars for whatever, even reduces one workman's comp claim, y'all, it is worth it to them.
Mhm.
It is worth it. I'm telling you. Okay, so not to go on a tangent, apologize, but it's what I do. So, okay, so we talked about mobile, which those corporations are actually kind of mobile too. They're just another type, but I kind of put them in their own little hub because your approach is a little bit different. What's another revenue river for you, Genevieve, that you found to be really lucrative that you love inside of your studio?
The one that's working this year this one started on its own and I avoided it for years. But I finally jumped on the bandwagon where now we're actually going to set up a whole separate website for it.
Mhm.
Uh, Wedding dances.
Ooh, okay.
And customers used to contact me, not elaborate dances. That's what I thought at first. I said, we can, yeah, when flash mobs first started, I said, we can do that. That's no problem.
Right.
But when it comes down to it, people just want to be comfortable and feel confident dancing together. They don't care if they are doing a waltz or a
Right.
cha-cha-cha. They just want to feel confident in what they're doing
Right.
and not be worried about it so that they're missing that moment.
Right.
Um, but again, when people first started contacting me, I would just throw a ridiculous price out there because I thought it's an hour of my time and I don't want to do this. So this is what you have to pay. And they'd be like, yeah, that's no problem. When can you see us? And
And
then
then
it,
you have that moment of well, crap, right? I should have charged more. Maybe they wouldn't, but no, it's again,
well, it is exactly, exactly. And it slowly increases and you realize, you know, this is my favorite part about it is that during the first lesson, 95% of the time is getting the woman to let go of control. When my partner would, when I tell this story, my partner looks at me and just goes, "That's rich. That's rich." The people are paying you for you to tell them to stop being so bossy, where it's an exercise as simple as making the wife close her eyes and let him lead. And
Mhm.
she just has to trust and follow him. And that's a good 15, 20-minute exercise. But when you see them actually finally connect, where, okay, they finally realize this isn't so stressful, this is just them enjoying the moment together, you're helping make a very special memory.
Mhm.
And weddings are a very good business to be in. There is a lot of money in weddings. And if you get, exactly, there's a lot of money in it. And if you get joy from helping two people feel confident on their day,
Mhm.
this is something that really works well. We don't advertise for weddings. And this year we have had over 56 couples.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, now it's
So it's a thing. It's a
it's
thing
a thing.
now.
It's a big thing, and it's one of those things where now we're looking into, okay, there's wedding exhibits and exhibitions.
Oh
Maybe
yeah.
we should actually start going to those because there are no people just advertising for that.
Yeah.
There's
There
ballroom dancing, but this is so niche. It's just that one moment that you two are going to have. I'll help you get there.
right. Well, because the reality is, like you said, most that come for help with their wedding dance, it's not because they want to do, ballroom, right? They just want to feel good and feel comfortable and whatever that might be. Now, every once in a while, maybe you have that because like the one who's like a dancer, they're not going to give you control of choreographing their thing. They're going to do it on their own, right? Right? Typically. So the reality is of your 56 couples that have come through this year, you guys, which is amazing, um, they just want to feel good. And
Exactly.
but business, y'all, weddings, you know it. Weddings are big business, and this is just one. I don't want to say one small little piece. I'm not going to say there still won't be bridezilla, but for
Yeah.
most part, I feel like you're not the venue, you're not the caterer, and you're not the dress. So
And you're telling, this is it. And you're telling the bride she's not in control for this one. It's
right.
him. The amount of men that look at me when their fiance's eyes are closed and they go,
This is your one thing, dude.
this is like, don't mess it up because I'm rooting for you because
Right.
you need to pull this together.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So true. So true. So y'all, again, you don't have to be a professional ballroom dancer to be able to do this. And it's really about just helping the two people connect. So I absolutely love that. Is there another revenue river that you found that you just love, adore, leverage, turn on, turn up, turn down? I'm trying to think off the top of my brain real quick, which is hard as we go through these. I'm going to just, while you're thinking about that, there are lots of different ways to make money, right? And so when I am looking strategically at, okay, I want to increase my bottom line, I'm looking at things that have the highest percentage of profit. So, what I mean by that is like if I'm maxed out, let's just say in our studio space, I don't want to add another studio space because there's a lot of expense that happens when you add more locations, right? So if that were me and that was the position I would be in, I would look at, okay, what other programs do I have going on? And I say programs loosely, but that could be it could very well be merchandise. I don't know. It could be merchandise because you can offer hey, pop up, here's this special limited sweatshirt because the weather's changed and you just want a little influx in cash. Like you could turn that on and off. But I'm always looking at like if bottom line revenue, all of that profitability is where I'm like, I look at these things and say, what is going to make the biggest um, difference or impact? What's going to give you the best ROI? And so sometimes it is the mobile. Hey, I'm going to go get some more mobile classes because highly profitable programs, right? Maybe it's that. Maybe it's, hey, I don't have time right now in my life to go out recruiting because that happens too. Let's be honest. And so then I might say, okay, well, I'm going to focus on, maybe my focus is, hey, I want to take my student counts, and instead of, increasing number of students, I want to increase number of units, right? So maybe that's the focus, is like, hey, if I know on average my students only take 1 or 2 classes and I want to get them to 3 and 4, what needs to happen? What's the campaign to do that? Because you're just selling internally. They're already bought in, right? So there are lots of different, that's my point. So what is going to make the biggest impact? Sometimes, I have clients who come to me and say, Erin, I need to make more money. And so I'm going to do this, I don't know. There's sometimes things people tell me and I'm like, why would you do that? That's not going to make you very much money. Oh, like, I'm going to offer Christmas ornaments. I'm like, but you need more money. And that's like, we have to think about that. What makes the most sense? Like, you're going to spend 10 hours on these Christmas ornaments, let's just say, for all intents and purposes. By the time we put out the thing for orders and we take the pictures and we do all the things, right? And it's only going to yield you, I don't know, let's just say $1,000, because I'm just pulling things out my brain. When you could spend 10 hours and go out and recruit for mobile and bring in $10,000. Like, we have to make sure that we're using our time well and on things that actually matter, that you can leverage and scale if that's what you desire. Was there another one that you thought of while I was over here ranting?
No, I think it's perfect, because it is like, for years we did adult classes,
Mm-hmm.
and we had specific times of the year that adult classes do very well, and specific times of the year that adult classes don't. And
Right.
we found that doing blocks of classes, a 6-week block of
Yes.
classes for adults, works much better, because they can commit to that. So this year we have 2 running at the moment, instead of, 2 classes that are running each week, where I'm spending money for a teacher that maybe one person has showed up to,
Right.
and that leaves me losing out and then going, well, what do we do? This works much better. It was 5 hours to really put in the effort to look at what's the best time for adults, what
Mm-hmm.
classes do adults really want,
Right.
and what locations.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
That,
Yeah.
that
Uh,
really, really kind of put things together for us this
yeah. I love that. And Kara was talking, just going back to the comments about, when we go into corporate or that sort of thing, she would always offer like a lunchtime sort of time slot and offer Zumba or even 90s hip hop, which they absolutely love, because they could do it on their lunches, um, and then go back and they've stretched their body and, have time to still feel food in their face. Just 30 minutes is, maybe all that's required. But yes, and charter schools are great. Quinceañeras are big. And yes, once you get in that community too, the referrals will pour in.
year.
Like, it is just same thing as weddings. When, like my husband always says, the year we got engaged, we I was probably in like 7 or 8 weddings of my close dance friends that were getting married. Like, everyone was getting married at the same time, essentially. And one good, it all just ripples. It's like, ooh, that was great food. Let's eat there. Or that was, whatever. So same thing with the weddings and the quince. Like, yes, you get in that community, but also you can make its own thing and advertise that whole program as its own thing. So, which is really great. And I'm just going to say it, depending on how you structure it, y'all, it could all be under your one studio umbrella, and or you could set up separate businesses, entities for each program. And then let's just say down the road, Genevieve decides, you know what? I don't want to do weddings anymore. I'm going to sell this business, and it's just that piece of the business. So there's opportunities there too, and there's pros and cons for each, but I just had to put that out there real quick. Okay, so um,
One last thing.
yeah,
I think it's really important that whatever it is that you're doing, instead of just jumping from one to the next, if something isn't working, is looking at how you're doing it. And sometimes your eyes aren't the best to see it. I think working with either a coach or working with a team of like-minded, you know, people that are working together that all know what you're going through are much more easily available to say, well, you didn't do this. Why would people know about that if you didn't do this? Versus you trying to figure it out by yourself, or you trying to talk to your staff about it. Your staff don't care. They just want to make sure that they have their work, and that's that. And it's also not their problem.
right.
you know? So it's how you run your business.
Mm-hmm.
And for you to run your business the best, you do need outside eyes. It can't be you just by yourself. Whether you're wedding dancing, whether you're trying to run everything on your own,
Right.
it doesn't work.
Right. Well,
There's
and
no room to grow.
right, and here's the thing. It's a lot of times inside of our Empire Builders Club, what we see is it's not that people aren't doing the tactics. They just don't have the strategy, right? So they'll come in and they'll say, Erin, I've done a booth, I've done free trials, I've done all these things and nothing works. It's not that they don't work, it's you don't have the strategy to make them work, right? It is basically like me walking into the grocery store, knowing all the ingredients for a delicious dinner are there and buying them. But if I don't know how to make the meal, it's not going to taste good, right? And so the same thing happens in our studios when it comes to leads, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to enrollment, growing, creating these programs, creating systems around them. We know we need to do them. We try to do them. And sometimes it really is these small little tweaks, but you have to have a different set of eyes and an outside perspective that can see like where are the gaps? Where are you leaking? Where are you hemorrhaging? Right? And when you're in it, it's hard to see. It's hard to see. And that's what I love about inside of our Empire Builders Club and our team that we have inside the Empire Builders Club is that we all have same love, right? We all have a love for dance, for the arts, for helping students, for being part of our community. We all have that passion, right? And desire. We get it. We're all in it. I think that's really important is that no one that's, on our team hasn't been in it for, 30 years. Like we're in the trenches with y'all too. Like we see what's happening in real time, y'all. Real time because we're living it. And so that's what I love about inside the Empire Builders Club. And, we each kind of have our own approach. We each have our own perspectives on things. But our values all align and we all look at things from the same lens in that we believe each studio and each member inside our Empire Builders Club is unique and their goals are unique. And so our approach has to be unique. And while we have a framework and we have things that we know, we have to massage and tweak them based upon each person's goals. And that's what I think is really great about our team and you and Samara. And like we all come in, we have a way of like looking at it and saying, yeah, but if we tweak this slightly, I think it's going to be gold for you. So I absolutely love that. So since we're talking about it, if you want support in your studio, you want those outside set of eyes, you want an amazing community who supports you and gets in there. The Empire Builders Club, you guys, we are open for adding new members. You could drop the word Empire below. You can get more information. I think I could actually put it in here too. Let's see if this works. I could also put the link in the chat for you guys, but know that we have something happening every single week inside the Empire Builders Club. And today we are actually, after this call, we are going to have a bonus group coaching call. We are training on content creation today.
Mhm.
And we have a, a cheat sheet for our members that we are going to be giving to them to make content creation not feel so hard, and really looking at what the strategy is behind some of these tactics that we're going to be giving and on this cheat sheet. So you guys, we have calls every single week, and between trainings and open hot seat coaching and Q&A sessions, we have tech support. We've got like, y'all, there's so much good. We have a planning session every single month to keep everybody ahead of the game and proactive, because we know when life gets busy, like it could get thrown to the wayside. And so when we set aside the time and we're really intentional, we've chose topics for our weekly calls to make sure that everybody's where they need to be, but also getting the support that they need. So today is a bonus training, bonus training, bonus train. Okay, anyway, y'all. Okay, so my friends, tell me, is there an additional revenue stream that you've been thinking about that you're like, this might be good, but you're not quite sure how to roll it out? Drop it in the chat here. We'll come back in. We'll give 2 cents, because like I said, there's a million different ways to make money, y'all. And it really depends on what are your big goals, what makes the most sense for you and your community and your staff, and what you have, what resources you already have available to you, to see if now's the time to roll out a new program. But if there's something else, or one that you're like, hey, this has been really great for me, and you want to share it in the chat, go for it. One of the things I have to tell you is this one might be unexpected. One of the things that we started doing in our organization, which has been highly profitable, I'm sharing a secret with y'all right now because I haven't told everyone. This is a secret. Is we are a middleman. Basically, we have a partnership with Broadway Fresno. So they're the company who books all the touring companies that comes through our town. And we have a partnership with them, and we just coordinate school performances for them. And we literally, all I have to do is tell the school, hey, Annie is coming through in February. Would you like your school to go? How many tickets do you want? And the same thing, school. So we have made quite a bit of money because the schools don't know how to go about it. They want the opportunity for their students to be able to see a professional show. I'm just a middleman. I literally do nothing but just say, hey, do you want this? Here are what tickets. And of course, I upcharge for the tickets, but it's still lower than if they were to try to go on Ticketmaster or whatever. Win-win for everybody. Y'all, it like no brainer.
The big thing though there, Erin, is it's because your relationships with the schools.
Right.
So that's the ticket that you have.
Right.
That every dance studio owner has that, where those are the little nuggets that we have of what is it that we've put the work in to create these relationships, that
Absolutely.
we're not we're doing what we do best and making money at it. We're not taking advantage of anybody. We're not, but it's using what we know.
Absolutely.
That's it. Using what we know.
Absolutely. And building something that is of value, I think, in a way. So, just like going back to weddings, why do people hire wedding coordinators? Why do they hire them? To make their life easier, right? Same sort of situation. So, and it's valuable to them because XYZ. So yes, we have those relationships with those school sites. But it was building something valuable and knowing what is the school's objectives for their visual and performing arts. What's the objective? And what's the outcomes that they're hoping from doing XYZ activities? So knowing that, I was like, hey, let's fill a gap. Let me help you, right? And even to that point, because of our partnerships, sometimes we get to add a little cherry on top and even upsell. What's the upsell there too is like when Aladdin came through, it was being able to say, hey, I could actually get one of those cast members to come and do a master class at your school before, and then they get to go see the show. You guys, that was like wild. I had to tell people no because everybody jumped on it because that's an experience that is highly desirable and not something that those principals of an elementary school or a junior high or would ever think of and or have the time or energy to put into making happen. Right? So to them, it was a no-brainer to spend the money because it's an experience those students will never forget. Making memories, y'all. Making memories, core memories. Okay, so anyway, that was a little secret extra revenue stream that, hey, I'll tell you, if you got the relationships, work it, y'all. It could be highly profitable for y'all. So, anywho, I feel like we've gone on we've had a long live today. Sorry, y'all, but it is the season finale before we take a little hiatus over the holidays. So, my friends, let us know. We want to continue the conversation with you. If you want more information about the Empire Builders Club, you can always reach out to myself, reach out to Genevieve, Samara, but just drop the word Empire below and we will chat with you or take a look inside. I dropped that link for y'all for the Empire Builders Club. You guys, it's a small group. No one gets left behind. No one gets lost in the shuffle. We want to make sure that everyone that's inside, that's a member, is absolutely seen and heard. And so we're really committed to that. I don't want 1,000 people in this group. Like, I don't. So it's a really great group, and I want to keep it that way. So, but we want new people who align with us. Come on in. The water is fine. So we're going to leave you there. Genevieve, thank you so much for coming on this morning or afternoon for you. Coming on, sharing with what's been working for you, and really just why it's so important to have these different things because, like you said, when things shift, right? When you have those things, maybe for whatever reason you realize adult classes during COVID weren't working, or even now, right? Let's just say even now, you're like, ooh, I could shut that one off, and I'm going to turn the faucet up higher on the daycares and the preschools because parents are still buying for their kids, or right, the wedding dances. Guess what? I'm going to open up that faucet all the way. I'm going to build a website, and we're going to go all in because it's really profitable and it's an easy addition for us, right? So it's being able to see that. And like for us, y'all, we saw the writing on the wall for Preschool for All coming. And so we said, what do we need to do to make sure we're ready when that happens, that we can shift? You guys, that is so important. And you have to take the time to know and to see, like I said, in your community, in your state, in your country, what is happening that would require you to possibly make a shift and start prepping now. And I know that might feel like a lot, but I'm telling you, when you're on the ground floor, when a shift happens, that's when the wealth comes flying in because you've been prepared and you've seen it coming. I saw Preschool for All coming for the last, honestly, 7 to 10 years. I knew it was coming. And so we started doing the work. I knew it was coming, didn't know when. It took a little bit longer because of the pandemic, right? But I'm telling you, there's always writing on the wall. You just have to be open to seeing it. So that's all I'm going to say about that. All right, we're going to leave you there. Thank you, Genevieve, for coming on. You guys, we keep an eye out. We will be sending out information about what's happening next, when we will be coming back on. But know that just because these lives we're on hiatus, that we're not gone. We're still here and available for you, and we want to chat with you. So reach out, send us a message, and we'll talk to y'all very, very soon. Bye, friends.